If you check your calendar, you know that today happens to be the 4th of June, and it's a day that really features all the time in the political timeline of this country, whether you like it or you don't like it, for whatever reason you think, it features in there and is there all the time. And of course, we're also looking at the National Democratic Congress as a party today because of the date, because of the celebration, and because also that there have been issues in the NDC as a party. And there's also the issue about whether the former president really is still in full trust, so to speak, of the current president and will be campaigning for him. And those issues will be coming up today. Indeed, the former president, John Rawlings, is reported to have said that the NDC seems to be in a ditch. In fact, let me take what I have here from my Enjoy Online, which says that according to Mr. Rawlings, the NDC has run itself into a ditch and cannot beat their opponents, the NPP, in the upcoming elections if there's a condition. The ideals of June 4 uprising have been abandoned. So the question is, have the ideals been abandoned, and for which reason? We'll be looking at the ditch issue, and does he really believe that the NDC is up against a very formidable opponent in the NPP? Again, it says the former president said it is his greatest wish that the NDC wins the elections, but quickly added, quote, "How can you beat Nana Akufo-Addo and the NPP when you are rejecting the values of June 4? How can you win when you are afraid of the values of June 4? Freedom and justice." So we'll be discussing all these matters, and I'm sure you have your own views on the matter. Do we have a rift, really? These days they say there's an umbrella war. Somebody really probably would like to write an article with that title, all having to do with a logo. And the suggestion is that some people are actually putting up billboards for their campaign for election 2012 without the logo on it. I've seen posters of things like that on Facebook. Is that to suggest that they weren't quite sure whether the NDC was enough or you needed a logo to go with it? So there are quite a number of issues that are coming up, and your views are really important to me as well. So send them to 1760 by text message across all mobile networks. It will cost you 30 pesos to do so. If you're on Facebook, then you're already there, so your message to us will be free. Facebook.com/MultiTV PM Express will be the address. In the studio with us tonight, on my immediate left, George Lawson is the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC and currently, of course, acting as a General Secretary because Mr. Seydou Nketia is out of the country. Thank you for coming, George.
Thank you.
And from the far end of the table, Seth Oforiohene is a political strategist. He's a member of the NDC. He's former Director of Communications and also former Press Secretary to Candidate Mills. Seth, thank you for coming as well. Let's begin the discussion this way because, particularly because of today's date. And let me ask you, George, as Deputy General Secretary of the party, how significant is the 4th of June to the NDC as a party? And it seems that the party did not formally participate in the events of today. Can you explain all of that to us?
Yeah, thank you very much. This day is very important to the party because on the party's calendar, today is Accountability Day. Okay. So it's very, very relevant, very significant to us. We all observe, and this day was observed by members of the party as well.
But the normal thing with the former president lighting the flame and all that, and he doing it grudgingly according to some newspaper reports, how come the party was not seen as a part of all of that?
Yeah, we go all the time. People, it's not that all the executives or all party members, yes, that's been the norm over the years, as far as I'm concerned. Sometimes you see the national chairman, you see the general secretary, it depends who goes. So we participate as well. Wherever we find ourselves, we participate.
So who went
observe
today?
the day. I can't tell who went today, but that's why we all observed it. It was observed in the regions as well.
But it will be a bit surprising to some to say that as Deputy General Secretary and Acting General Secretary, I'm not even sure who went today.
No, that's what happens. I can't tell who went last year. Okay. I can't tell who went last 2 years, who went, yes, that's that. Unless I'm told, I mean, if reports reach me or come to me or I'm told that this such a person went, I'm fine. But that's the norm.
Sorry for being on you quite a bit, but I'll ask you again. So what do you make of the former president's participation in it and also the reports that he almost did not light the flame on grounds that it seems that the ideals are not being upheld the way he expected by the party itself, and that it took some convincing for him to finally do so.
And who were those who convinced him? Wasn't it the party members? So that is it. It was party members who convinced him to light the flame. And he expresses, exercises fundamental human rights. He can decide to light or not to light. And at the end of it all, it was party members who prevailed on him to light the flame, and he did so.
Seth, let me get your initial views on this matter. Today, the significance, Jerry John Rawlings, the NDC. What are your initial comments on all of that?
Well, it's a great day in the history of our party. It's June 4 that gave birth to 31st and subsequently gave birth to the NDC as a political party. And all members of the NDC recognize today as a day of accountability. And as such, we must, or we should mark the day. I was at the June 4 celebration, where His Excellency, former President Rawlings, and other senior members of the party, laid a wreath in honor of those who lost their lives and those who participated in the revolution. We also were very glad to see some members of the then AFRC, the council itself. I remember having a chat with Last Corporal Tasiri, a key architect of the June 4 revolution, and other people. I was happy to see Naval Captain Asasi Jima, who was a former National Security Coordinator under former President Rawlings' regime, and very senior people, including Mr. Martin Amidu, immediate past Attorney General, and other top-ranking military officers who were part of the revolution. So I think it was a day well marked. Those of us who believe in the ideals and beliefs of June 4 were there to help the former president commemorating the day.
Did you expect a little more active, open participation from the NDC as a party, and also perhaps from the president and the vice president?
Well, I think as I was coordinating the media, the media people present, they keep asking, where are the leadership of the NDC? They kept asking ministers of state. Well, to the best of my knowledge, I did not see ministers of state or government officials participating. I did not see executive members of the party, current executive, participating. But then, as I said, we had very senior members under former President Rawlings' regime. We had members of the AFRC, the council itself, and I think I've mentioned the Last Corporal Tasiri.
That's right.
And others. So I think it's a day well marked. Those who believed in it were there. There were others who believed in it, but maybe for purposes of official duty were unable to attend.
But Seth, let me ask you really, and I'll be coming back to George. I think that the introductory questioning may be a bit unsettling for some people, and I hope that the two of you are fine with it, because we really want to get some understanding of these matters. What, to your mind, is the reason why, for example, there will be such, as you say, because you were there, such an obvious absence, I should say, because I'm going to say disinterest. I don't have the facts. Obvious absence from the people that you cite, executive, people in the government, etc. Is it suggesting that the NDC, within the NDC, you have one half that perhaps continues to believe in the ideals of June 4th, and there's another half who say, yes, it's part of our history, it's part of our culture, it's accountability day, as George has told us, but really stepping out there to participate in its events perhaps may not be necessary. Is that a signal we are to pick from this?
Well, I will not say one side believes in June 4 and one side doesn't believe in June 4. I think the party believes in June 4, and as such, we hold this as Accountability Day. And if you believe or call yourself as a member of the NDC, you should believe in the ideals of June 4.
So how do you explain
probity, accountability. Even past years, you get people, not all of them participating, but then I think I'll be misleading the discussion if I pretend that all is well. Recent political discourse within the NDC indicates that, look, there is some disagreement between one group and the other. Maybe those likely to be seen as followers of former President Rawlings, and maybe followers of the president. But in my terms, I believe that we have, this is my belief, not a general belief. I believe we have the Rawlinses group and then we have the Ahoy group. Okay. Unfortunately, it's played against the sitting president in a way. And I think as a party, collectively, we have to look at the growing division within the party and try to put all of us together. I think I'll be misleading if I pretend that all is well.
George, Seth says all is not well. From where you sit, you agree with him?
That is what he says. But in every human institution, there are disagreements. I don't know what you're talking about disagreements or people having their way or their views here. But the fact is, I can see NDC is still one family. Whatever the disagreements, we're still we belong to one family. So once it is a human institution, there'll be disagreement here and there. And I would not say there is no disagreement because it's a human institution. Human institution, we all striving for perfection. We're not perfect. So definitely there could be some disagreement. That does not make us a family. We are still a family.
The former president asked, how can you beat Nana Akufo-Addo and the MPP when you are rejecting the values of June 4? What's your response?
I'm not sure we have rejected the values of June. It's still alive. But I think he expressed his opinion and we must respect his opinion. That is his opinion. But to me, the values are relevant as it was some 31 years ago.
It's the same.
It's the same.
Is the former president a key part of your agenda to win the 2012 election?
It's part of the family. We have not even said about campaign teams, and he's part of it.
He is part of the campaign team?
We've not set up our campaign team. He's part of the NDC.
Okay, yeah, sure.
When we set up our campaign teams, you see where the role that he will play.
What role do you expect him to play?
That is, I cannot sit here and then assign him a role. He's our founder, he's our father.
Okay.
So before a role will be assigned to him, we'll have to consult him and see what role he would play in this 2012 general elections.
Is Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings important to you as well?
He's the wife of the founder. Once she's the wife, she's also an important figure. She's been once our first lady. So she's an important figure as far as NDC is concerned. But she also became one of our vice until our presidential primary. She was one of our vice chairpersons. So she is very important as far as the party is concerned.
But from her pronouncements recently, it looks as if she clearly is not enamored, so to speak, of President Mills and his style of governance and his leadership. She thinks that things are not going right, things are not being run the way they ought to be run, and all of that.
That is how she says it. Everyone sees things from different point of view or different perspective, and maybe from where she's sitting, that's the way she says it. And again, if somebody points out certain things, the person helps you to make amends. Maybe she's pointing out that to her, things are not going well, it should be done this way, that way. And based on that, yes, once somebody makes an informs you well, you also make an informed choice or decision. So that's it.
So you think it's all good, it's all in the same spirit?
Yes, it's all in the same spirit.
Seth,
once you don't become a praise singer. I hate praise singers. And she decides not to be a praise singer, tell you your shortfalls or where you're going wrong. I think it's in the right direction, and which we welcome constructive criticism.
Seth, if somebody has been out of Ghana for maybe 5 years and is just returned tonight, and has only heard George's submissions tonight, the person's impression will be that everything is nice, everything is fine, it's going well. People have it's actually good that people show that they have different views of matters. But as a matter of fact, it is one NDC family. That does not seem to be the general opinion in town. People are actually there was a possibility of the Rawlinses forming their own party, which hasn't happened. There was questions about whether the Rawlinses will even campaign for President Mills, and we have just a few months to go, 5 months or so. That has been an issue that it has been debated. There's a question as to, I mean, there's the most recent boom speech, so to speak, you know, and all that, and the references to ideals of June 4th, which George says they are still alive and says people are not following it. He actually talks about have we also become guilty and how do we expect to win? He talks about the values of freedom and justice that people are afraid of. He cites ethics of men, where human beings try every means possible to unseat a corrupt, dictatorial, and oppressive government. They have every right to revolt. And we all know about greedy bastards, which seems to have come to stay when people discuss these matters. Is everything that smooth? Is it just little patches which you expect?
No,
all lines are drawn.
Like I said, I might be misleading the public and even the discussion by saying that all is well.
Right.
Yes, we are one family. No two ways about that. We all belong to the NDC family. And then there are disagreements. It's clear from one position that, look, one group believes that, look, the ideals of June 4 are not being strictly followed. And I think the former president has made it clear. And I think if you look at current political discussions or news, it's clear that the attempt to celebrate the day in Aflao, the rally was sort of an attempt was made to scuttle the whole process when chiefs were made to issue statements. Eventually, the chief has to admit that he had no authority to do that. And all other issues going into it, the speculation of forming of party, the security situation not being good at Afla, all were attempts to, scuttle the June 4 celebration. Thankful to the Almighty, the event took place successfully. We saw a number of Ghanaians, especially the youth, going to express their support and belief in the June 4 ideals. A revolution that took place 33 years ago, and the light continues to burn. So one should understand that this is a true revolution, and the man that launched the revolution believes in the revolution and believes that it is the June 4th that brought about the NDC. It brought about 31st December revolution, and it brought about the NDC. And as such, the leadership of the NDC should go or continue with the ideals of June 4. And he's saying that if you begin to run away from June 4 celebration, then you are shooting your own leg. On what basis are you going into the election? That is a very big question. There have been so many things that the former president thinks that, look, June 4 doesn't support as far as the current governance is concerned. But I will say that, look, in as much as the former president disagrees with certain actions of this government, also feels sort of, in quote, hurt, I believe the certain president also feels hurt. And I would call for some level of ceasefire.
I will ask you,
yes.
I have to take a commercial break now, but when we come back, I ask you on what basis you think that the sitting president also feels hurt. It would be great to have an explanation of that. And then, of course, we'll get into the election 2012. We'll look at the NDC as a party, look at how strong it is as a party, what are its chances, the history of a past election, and all of those factors. We'll get down to discussing it. And Multi-TV PM Express, if you're on Facebook. And Seth, you're making a point about the current president also feeling hurt. The former president, many can put their minds to. I mean, perhaps not giving the role he wants, hasn't been, I mean, the guesses are many. I mean, he's also complained, access to the president, etc. Those were some of the issues he used to raise. But the current president, what's the reason why he will feel hurt?
Oh, well, I think, let me start by saying that certain comments from some lieutenants of both camps have created some level of tension and division. For example, I believe that some comments from some junior ministers of the Mills administration did not help. The way they spoke on the former President Rawlings, I think it's completely unacceptable. Even during the campaign, the way they words on Nana Akufo-Addo, completely unacceptable. Okay, and these are issues that someone who formed a party, first of all, launched a revolution. The revolution, entering into a democratic era, formed a party, and you have junior ministers of a government that belongs to his party using certain words on him. Completely honest. I don't want to cite examples, okay, but I think we should understand that those things are not good for our party.
But sometimes examples do help.
Yeah,
the people like to know what you're talking
to,
about, really. Because George says he's not making any assumptions on this program tonight. Facts are facts.
You know, yeah. For example, and also the certain president, you know, and his team, if you talk to close people, those who are very close to him, you could see he's also not happy that, look, some aides, okay, from maybe Fonka, for example, also use certain ways on him and his administration, you know, that he's not happy. He thinks otherwise. And, you know, so you can see that both leaders have some level of genuine concern. Okay. And I think that it is in the interest of the party to address this thing. They shouldn't have allowed this to get to this level. They should have addressed it at the early stages.
So who should have taken the steps to do this, to address this matter?
I think the national executives of the party. The
national executives, including George.
Of course, and then the Council of Elders. I think they should have done that within my understanding of the workings of the NDC. Okay. And in saying that, I think we should all cease fire. We all have
common interest.
Yes.
Is to win the 2012 election.
Yes, and I think it is important that we cease fire. If I am to advise, I will ask the certain president to extend an olive branch to the former president. Let bygone be bygone. I would follow the ideals of June 4. Give me your consent, well, you know, written consent. I will try as much as possible to follow the ideals of June 4 because that is the key of the NDC. Even today when Naval Captain Asase Jima spoke, he also spoke and said, look, June 4 is everything about NDC. June 4 brought us together, and it is June 4 that keeps us together. So my simple, you know, appeal is that, look, let's extend olive branch. Let's ceasefire. Let's move together. But then we must go with the ideals of June 4. At the weekend, I cited a number of examples that back some of the reasons that the former president continues hitting at the certain government. Okay, there are obvious cases that should be addressed more effectively.
Such as what? I mean, it may be helpful. Not everybody heard you at the weekend. Who's listening to you now?
Yeah, for example, it's where I'm going to go is a little bit sensitive, but I mean, members of the party should permit me. Okay. If you look at the Bui Dam project and the conflict of interest by the General Secretary, for example, Esiedun Ketia, it doesn't help the party. You might say, well, he's a guru of the party and as such, no action should be taken, but it has a very negative effect on the electorate. I think, as a person, as an advocate of governance, I believe that immediately an action should be taken. The party itself should have even launched investigation. Is his position true? Is he working in the interest of the party?
But you make it sound as if it is a categorical matter, the conflict of interest for sure.
I disagree.
I'm coming. Let me finish. I know definitely. That's why I said I'm entering into a very sensitive.
Right. It's not sensitive. It's not sensitive. It's not a sensitive area.
So when issues of this nature come, as a party, you must do something about it. Whether it is conflict of interest or not, we should know the truth. The ideals of June 4 should be executed. Let us know. Did he do it or not?
Probity and accountability.
Sure.
The ideals.
Okay. Let me cite another one. You are pushing me to cite. I know I've heard Neo Kojan. He has issued a statement. He has made his lawyers to issue a statement. But before the statement, it was all over that, look, he got some of the Accra lands, and he is the chairman of the Greater Accra Lands Commission. Straight away, we saw it as conflict of interest. Now, He's saying that he applied before we came to power. So did he get the land before we came to power, or he got it when we were in power? It's another issue. I think the former president, for example, moved into the Woyome scandal a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, we think it should be, though the president has dealt with the whole issue with all the necessary, I think it should move very fast. For example, I, as a member of the party, as an advocate of good governance, as someone who believes that corruption has affected Africa's development, I don't understand why the finance minister is in office. I don't understand. Okay? The former attorney general left. Why is he in office? He has to go. He authorized the payment because government is going on fraud basis. I think the court proceedings. So immediately I think he should go. These are the things that June 4 expects on grounds that he is the finance minister. Okay. He authorized payment. His government, the government that he is a member of, says that there is an element of fraud. It has not been established yet, but then straight away, in established democracies, and even in other developing democracies, straight away you have to leave office. There's no two ways about that. Okay? These are the ideals. To my understanding, are some of the ideals and beliefs that June 4 taught all of us. Okay. And it's also clear that as part of best practices in all democracies, that is the ideal thing to go.
George, you had some comments that you wanted to
Yes, about my boss. What he's saying is my boss is in court. In terms of the Bui Dam project matter, in terms of the blocks, that's why he's talking about. My boss is in court. So from what he's saying, as if my boss has done something wrong, I don't see, there's no conflict.
I have not given judgment.
You said there's a conflict, then he is at fault. If there's a conflict of interest, then there is a fault somewhere. But here is the case, the man has gone to court, and he's in court to clear his name. Are you not aware that he's in court?
Please go ahead.
Maybe you are not aware. Once he's in court, he's there to clear his name. So there's no conflict of interest so far as the party is concerned. We have delved into it, and he has gone to court to clear his name.
So as far as you're concerned, there's no conflict
of interest. There's no conflict of interest.
What about other issues that set raised? I mean, about who should resign, the Woyome issue?
That one, that is government. But I'm talking of the party. With the party, what I know, that is what I have said. He is the general secretary. This matter was brought before the Functional Executive Committee. We deliberated upon it, and he gave his side of the story. And he has gone to court. We asked him to redeem his image, and he has gone to court to redeem his image.
So we all have to wait.
So we all have to wait. It's before the law court.
But he went to court.
Yes, he went to court. He had to sue, is it Fred Owari and others? So he's in court to clear his name.
But Seth's point is not so much about Asedun Keita going to court.
Yeah.
Your point is that whether he goes to court on his own personal issue or not, that a step should be taken against him at a higher level. So that has nothing to do with him going to court. Is that your point?
Oh, yeah.
That is why we deliberated upon it. Right. I mean, it's not everything that we have to put in the open. We deliberated upon as the Functional Executive Committee. He was there. We asked him his side. He told us his side of the story. And then we also investigated. We got the relevant document to ascertain as to whether there is a conflict of interest. We did all those things. And then at the end of the day, it was clear that there was no conflict of interest.
Okay. Seth said that the functional executives, including yourself, have not really done your work, as it were, with regard to President Rawlings and President Mills, and that perhaps you should have taken more of a frontline role to bring them together. Otherwise, all these statements that we keep hearing in the media will not be the key situation. Do you think that you failed in your duties?
I beg to differ. Again, it's not everything that we put in the public domain. There are things that have been done behind the scenes and continue to be done behind the scenes. So maybe he's not privy to those. Once he's not privy, he should not just come out with that blanket statement. They have still, we are doing things behind the scenes to be able to patch up, bring the two together, and it's ongoing until we arrive at that conclusion. Will not be able to tell anybody what we're doing.
Yeah, can I
yes,
make?
Yes, please.
Yeah, but he was telling us that there is nothing like division. Now you are talking about.
I'm not saying.
I mean, let's
wait. I said it's a human institution. We have disagreements. So please get me right. I didn't say. I said it's a human. In every human institution, so you see this one saying, that one saying, that you have those disagreements. I didn't say we don't. There's no disagreement. But at the end of the day, I said it's one family. One family doesn't mean you don't have disagreements within the family. So I didn't say there is no disagreement among or between personalities and the party. I said it's one family and there are disagreements here and there. So let me make that one clear. But again, the National Executive, we're doing everything possible so that we have a united front for this 2012 general elections.
The former president seems to be a bit unsure about your chances as a party in the 2012 election, because based on what I read and based on what he said, he seems to think that the ditch is the word that he was used, that you brought yourself into a ditch and all of that. How seriously are you taking that?
Yes, I talked about the ideals of June 4th.
Yes.
I want to assure him that it is still relevant in the party. And definitely in human life, you can't have anything 100%. We are striving for perfection. So some of us still believe in those ideals. And I'm sure most members of the party also believe in those ideals. So if it is those ideals that he's talking about, I want to assure him that we will live up to it, so that come 2012, we'll not be in the ditch, but be on top of the hill.
Do you think, Seth, that the chances of the NDC will be affected somewhat because of what the current happenings, the disagreements, the failure by either party to extend an olive branch, as you say, the failure, as you again say, of the functional executive to have stepped in to make sure that they do their patchwork and all that? Will all of that affect the party in 2012, particularly against the background that President Mills is coming up against an old foe, so to speak, somebody he went toe-to-toe against in the last 4 years, in 2008. At the end of the day, we all know it took time, and at the end of the day, we all know that it was a very narrow margin. Of course, the dynamics may have changed a bit. Some people who voted 2008 will not be around to vote, including my late father. Now we have some people who have, for the 4-year span, have become 18 years and have also joined biometric. And the biometric registration will also clean out certain people and all that and bring in. The dynamics may have changed.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But would this affect the chances of the NDC?
If we are unable to arrest the situation, I think it will affect us. And that is why I am calling for ceasefire. We've been calling for ceasefire. We've been urging the leadership to, as much as possible, bring some level of unity into the party. It's my prayer that His Excellency the President, whom to a large extent I know very much, as a very sincere person, will extend some olive branch to our great founder, former President Rawlings, for us to move on. The truth is that certain things did not go well. We don't want to continue hammering on that because we are in for peace. But the former president's concerns are very legitimate, very, very, very legitimate. And he must examine his concern, with a very clean heart. Extend the olive branch and let's move on as a party. And we will win the 2012 election. For example, in the areas of development, as a social democratic party, where we believe that certain social rights should be attained by every citizen of this country. For example, in the areas of education, we are trying to eliminate all school under trees. We are making sure that we put up trees that can educate the citizens of this country to bring up development. There are one or two things that we have to tighten, and I think it will be in the interest of His Excellency John Mills, his government, and the party to listen to the concerns being raised by the former president. And then we will work together and win. After all, we are one family.
So you'll both agree on the one family bed. I have to take a commercial break. If you can do this in 10 seconds or 15 seconds, I ask you. So if the conditions you lay are not met, there's no extension of an olive branch. The former president and the current president don't, do what you say you're doing. If George's efforts behind the scenes, as he says, do not help change the picture as we see it, will that affect the fortunes of the NDC?
With my experience and knowledge, I think.
How strong is the NDC for election 2012 and, of course, June 4 serving as the basis or the background to that? Obviously, George, I should be asking you the same question about your chances. And do you think that certain things must change for you to win, or irrespective of how successful you are behind the scenes, is a sure banker, as we say in Ghana?
Yes, we are poised to win this general elections. But again, united we stand, divided we fall. If we are more united, we win more, we win convincingly. I mean, it will be better than this unity or this disagreement that we're having among ourselves. But come December 7th this year, the NDC would emerge victorious.
You're absolutely sure of that?
Very, very sure. Very, very, very sure.
What makes you so sure? I mean, there are issues that people raise. People talk about the depreciation of the CD against the dollar. People talk about many of things. Cement is can't find to build their houses. You know the issues.
Yeah, but the cement and other issues, we're handling it. It's now coming down. The next is the currency. Yeah. All those things would have to fix it. And I'm sure before the general elections, all those things will be fixed.
Before the general election?
Before the general
election. This is June?
Yes.
It's December?
Yes, it's all over. It's not only Ghana. It's all over. Look at the euro. Look at the European, the Eurozone, America. They all faced with all these economic problems. And they are all trying to fix it. And we're also trying to fix ours. And God willing, come December, we would be able to fix it.
But you're absolutely right when you say that it's a global phenomenon.
It's a global
But
phenomenon.
then Sarkozy paid the price in France.
Yes, Sarkozy's own is a little bit different. It was not entirely economical.
Okay.
It was social as well. An immigrant trying to expel immigrants. So that was the price he paid for it. It was not entirely economical. Okay. There were social issues as well, cultural issues that also precipitated his exit.
Okay.
Yes. But if you look at the other places, maybe in Serbia, that was also not economical, but it was more political, more ethnical, that is it, and other places. But if you talk of the Conservatives losing this council, that is more political, depending on the programs of the unholy alliance between the Liberal Democrats and the Conservatives. That's how come the Labour emerged or did very well in the council elections and others. But in Russia, Putin won as well, despite the economic problems. So we would also emerge victorious come December this year.
What's Kofi Adams' status right now?
I'm not aware. The matter is, was referred to a disciplinary committee. They've not given us the reports. So we are waiting the report of that committee. And based on that, the National Executive Committee will meet and then would let you know what's here.
Okay, so for now, you don't really have...
Yeah, we are waiting the committee's report. Well, yeah.
Seth, you stand in danger of being accused of not being a die-in-the-wool NDC man as you should be, if you would suggest, for example, that if certain things are not done, the patching is not done and people put together and brought together, then you may lose the election to the MPP. Many people will be happy with you.
I've not used the word lose. No.
Okay.
I've not done that.
But is that not what you meant?
I've not used the word
that
lose.
It may cost you that at the end of the day. If
I've not used that, but if I'm to re-echo the words of His Excellency, former President Rawlings, all is not well, and we have to get out of the ditch. Okay?
Okay.
It is always good to be sincere.
Okay. In your sincerity, are you sharing George's position that willy-nilly you are winning December 2012, except if you bring everybody together, you win more convincingly?
Of course.
That is his position. Is that your position as well? I need to get this clarification. I think that irrespective of what happens, as for victory, it is sure. Except that for him, I think he'll be more comfortable, he'll be happier that the margin is not just a 50.1 or something if you win it, but that is 51, 52, 53, 54.
Want to see the NDC in power. The NDC is the political party that I believe strongly can turn this economy around. Okay. We are committed to meeting the needs of Ghanaians. We are committed to promoting and ensuring socio-economic development, you know, for our citizens. And as such, that is why we are saying let's do what it will take us to win, so that we will take Ghanaians out of the economic difficulty.
I realize you don't want to answer the question directly. I realize that, and I'm not the only one who realizes it. I'm sure viewers realize it as well.
But it is the hope of every political party to improve the living to improve living standards of its people. Sure. So that's all what we're all doing.
Right.
But the way, as human, as always, we are all striving for perfection. We can't have it 100%. And looking at the global problems, economical problems, I think we're doing the best that we can. Okay. And I'm sure when these economic problems are over, Ghanaians will really enjoy what they deserve fully.
Yeah, then let me say that.
Yes.
It's my prayer that we will get out of this difficulty. And as I said, we should ceasefire. The certain president should extend olive branch to the former president, and we will definitely win if that is done.
Let's take some few messages before we go. Aliu Nashaiman says, NDC is confused, disorganized, and full of total lies to Ghanaians. Oh God, what a shame. Adam Supremo says, NDC for me is the most cracked political party in the history of Ghana's politics. And it's still very funny, but confusing how the whole situation keeps degenerating as the days pass by. They really need to stand up and bury every hatchet. Otherwise, they should just let us know they are not capable of managing their own internal affairs, let alone managing the nation at large. That is Supremo from Medina. Sola says the strength of the NDC is growing weaker and weaker towards the elections. You mean the NDC is growing weaker? Okay. Kuma Sehi Buako says deceit, propaganda, lies, inefficiency, corruption, vindictiveness are the unprecedented achievements of the Atamils-led government, and these will send them to opposition come December 7. Isaac Ubene says June 4 has outlived its usefulness because Mr. Rawlings and his cohorts, the architects and believers of June 4, who sought to restore and train the principles of probity, accountability, and social justice, have themselves betrayed those principles and have therefore lost the moral high ground to pontificate the way they do. They should therefore spare us their peculiar brand of cacophony. Another says, one thing former President Rawlings forgets is the fact that his style of governance is different. So he should just allow the president to rule. President Mills is the voice of the people, and so shall it be. Arthur Kojo Daniel says, no JJ, no NDC. Said Fatawu, the small boys are all pretending all is well, but the big boys are crying inside. Thank you. Frederick Jardin, the thank you is part of your message, not for me. Frederick Jardin says the NDC should go for PPP. For PPP to come. You left the two, but that's what you mean because you're saying Dr. Indum all the way. Francis Asari Nchebi, we are now strongly supporting Atamils because Nana does not have any plans for us. Kosi Atipo, NDC is not a party. It is just a group of non-starters who lie their way to office. There is no way Mills and his government can retain power. NPP is poised for a great comeback. The next message, you don't add your name, but you say you're an NPP man, and this is what you say. Seth has truly made me believe in the ideals of June 4th, or the June 4th tenets, with the examples he cited. Although I'm an NPP man, you don't add your name. Momoni Rashid says, Mr. Host, thank you very much for this program. We just have to be frank and call a spade a spade. There is no need to pretend. All is not well in the party. If you believe in the ideology of June 4 and no government official nor the president himself attended the celebration, then you are only making fun of those who toiled for the party. Look at the chief's sudden change of mind and wanted our flower venue to be changed. It was clear people from the government went there and threatened them on developmental issues that they were yearning for. Next one is from Tiani in Wa. It says, ask Lawson where Esiedu's factory is located, BG 2009 and now. You mean before 2009 and now? Whether the factory has changed location. I don't know if you have any facts.
No, he has different. He has one in Accra, one in Sekwa, and then one in not even in where it's before. What I know before where the Bui the stand is. Yeah.
Okay, so has he moved location? That's
no, yes, they have
always been there.
Yeah.
Okay, since before 2009 they were there. Okay, so that's your answer right there.
For what I know, the Sekwa one was there 2009, before 2009 or 2008. And again, because people coming all the way from, is it the Bui or whatever, to the Sekwa was, so he had to establish another factory closer to where people...
Okay.
yeah.
So after 2009, one was established closer to the Bui
Not
area.
2000, but I think I'm
You're not sure about the date?
The date, yeah.
Okay. This one says, I'm very happy to see Seth. He's a person I respect. He's the person I respect most in the NDC party. I really wonder why he's not been given any ministerial position. That is from Santiago. Some words coming your way, Seth. And George Maulikwe says, ask George why he himself failed to attend the program. He should not tickle himself and laugh because all is not well with our great party. The level of despondency among members is still high. He has a question for you. Why weren't you there personally?
I was far away somewhere.
Far away somewhere is your answer. Dixon Desiree from Laura Kojo. How will this unity will ever be possible? Oh, wow. We don't have a Kojo on the show tonight. Okay, all right. When Rollins can now be described as, quote, a barking dog, how do you expect the barking dog to unite with the climbing monkey? That is not possible. Hey, these are interesting things you are saying. He says, the expectations of Ghanaians have not been met at all, and we will not wait to vote them out on December 7th. We are suffering. You will not wait? What will you do before then? Dixon. Achanga Asorobik Thomas from Bongo. Rollins will surely send Atamils and his Team B ministers into opposition come December 2012. This is the best time for them to start preparing their handing over notes. Koko Anyidoruho now has executive powers to sack people from their jobs. What misconduct. Alassane Sule, we the youth are watching these great leaders of today. Tony Kofi Nyakon, I think the NDC is playing a mind game to set off its opponents. Adomako Job, NDC can surprise Ghanaians come 2012. They should remember 2008, nobody thought that the NDC would win. The next one from Abisco, NDC is strong for the 2012 election because of the good developmental plans which are already on the ground and which are to come. All right, some more messages have just come in. Yes, let's take those as well. This one says, so will NDC recall Kofi Adams if it becomes a demand by the Rollinses? Recall if they demand it. I don't know if you have an answer for him.
I don't know, but we're waiting, we're going according to the constitution of the party. So once the committee presents and there's nothing, I think, yeah, he should come back.
Okay. Next one, I've never seen or heard such an objective politician such as Seth Ohene. These are the men that we need in our politics. And to the General Secretary, remember that you will one day regret for the stand you have taken today. Mark my words. That's from Ojem. Okay, next one. What do we want the president to do? Pacify the god of the NDC? God forbid. Pastor Josiah in Pong. Effort do Akogo. NDC has run itself into a ditch. You are quoting. And cannot beat the opponent's MPP in the upcoming elections if the ideals of the June 4 uprising have been abandoned. Unquote. Can Mr. J.J. Rollins ever go back on his words? But NDC is winning power at all costs. Okay, you're saying that you think NDC will win. Focus then in Nukunu. I was very happy the June 4 celebration came to my town, Aplau. As a constituency youth organizer, NDC is very strong in K2 South. NDC is in Aplau is very alive. I was so much disappointed when attempts were made to scatter the program. And then you go on and say the only issue in Aflao is the creation of the Aflao Municipal Assembly, which in fact was the main reason advanced for the proposed relocation of the venue for the June 4 Durbar. Prince Albert Ronnie, no, I think the media don't get the former president, they don't get the former president. Former President Rollins well, okay, that's what you mean. The man feels his party is being swallowed up by the CPP gurus. President Mills, Vice President Mahama, Dr. Kwabena Dufour, the rented journalist Kwesi Pratt, they all do not understand the principles of June 4. That's from Prince Swame Macro in Kumasi. Marcus Maudo, some people just sound confused nowadays. The question is, who supports Mills or Dr. Rollins? Next one says, let Mr. Lawson pretend, okay, I know you're saying he should behave like the ostrich, you mean, and laugh at the wrong side of his mouth. Haruna in Kumasi. The next one from Aduminenchi. The Deputy General Secretary is not aware of every sensitive issue. Okay, next one. Prince Egbert Ronnie. No, okay, you've just read that message. It came twice. And Marcus, though, we've read your message as well. Adai Andrews says we must stop the unnecessary arguments and pray for Ghana. Okay. And Charles Cheneboa says, NDC, why this polarization? Is this the better Ghana you promised Ghanaians? Gideon Ochredako, at long last the battle has ended and NPP, our beloved party, takes power come December 7. Adumako Job, NDC can surprise Ghanaians. Okay, we've read that because he said in 2008 don't want to give them the chance to win, but they did. Joseph Kwakun Jiekpo, whether game or no game, we don't care. All we know is Nana should come and save this country from these NDC hypocrites. Ya bremo, adeng. Okay, in English, he says you're simply tired of you. He's referring to the NDC. And he sent your message again, Adumako Job, just to make sure it gets read. We've read it already. And this one also gets repeated. That is it. We have to run out of the studio. We'll give a minute each to my guests to round up, as I can see more messages coming anyway. On a show like this, you can absolutely be sure that there'll be more messages. I'm sure our time has been extended somewhat. I'll take these. Abugri Jonathan, what is written is written. They say grafa. In 2008, Ochalbeda Samoa was with Prof. Mills and the NDC, but the candidate Mills lost heavily to President Kufuor in 2000 and 2004 respectively. He left in 2008, which prompted the NDC to win slightly over the NPP. Hence, Dr. Obeda Samoa is back to the NDC to send Professor Mills and the NDC back to opposition. Jonathan, Bongo High Street. Interesting. Achanga Asobirik Thomas. Rollins will surely send Dr. Mills and his team B. Oh, we've read this already. Mumuni Rashid says, I'm writing again to say kudos to Mr. Ofori, who is very emotional and honest on this issue. Keep that spirit going and may you help minimize corruption in our country, Ghana. Kwame Kese, NDC has lost come December elections. President Anyidoho and his vice at Mills, please start parking. All right, I know what you mean. It's very sarcastic, but those are not the facts. The president is the president. And Mr. Anyidoho is not the president. We have to be clear about that. Theophilus Hagen, it's unfortunate NDC is confused now. How can they win? Theophilus Bloko, NDC, please remember a house divided against itself cannot stand. Kwame Kese, it's also unfortunate that December isn't today so that Ghanaians will kick NDC out. Adai Andrews, we must stop the necessary arguments and pray for Ghana. We've read that. Charles Chonebua, NDC, why this polarization? We've read that as well. Gideon Ochredako, we've read your message. Charles Chonebua says, whether NDC, MPPO, Ghana first. I think a lot of people will agree with that one. Abugri Jonathan says, Hebrews 4:12-13. For the word of the Lord is quick and sharper. God's word on your life can never be resisted or corrupted. Hence, Papa Rollins, your name will always be remembered in the history books of Ghana. So allow the Lord's word, that is sharper and quicker, to flow as you will be rewarded gargantually in heaven. Okay, you think that when he speaks is the word of God flowing. As I said, concluding remarks from my guest, a minute each. Who goes first?
Well, it's my prayer that the NDC will come out very united. It's our prayer that we will meet the expectation of Ghanaians so that we can win the 2012 elections.
Great.
Yeah,
George?
I also hope and pray that come December 12 we'll be more united and stronger than before and emerge victorious.
Those are crisp words. Joseph Agbovi sends a message and says that if this divisional practices, basically the division in the NDC, is not dealt with early, then the possibility of NDC retaining power come December is very slim. What the executives of the party need to do is to use their guiding principle: united, they win, or divided, they forget it. Okay, Joseph, you say that is what they should be guided by. Thank you very much for sending us your message. And we also say special thanks to our guest in the studio, George Lawson, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, currently acting as such in the absence of his boss. Thank you for coming. And also Seth Ofori Ohene, political strategist, member NDC, former Director of Communications, and former Press Secretary to candidate Mills. Thank you for coming as well.